Hi, it's Kirby Summers. Today we're going to talk about Vicki Morgan and Alfred Bloomingdale. This case, in my opinion, has a lot of similarities to the Jeffrey Epstein case. So I'm going to call this part one. In 1983, a man walks into a police station and confesses to killing his best friend and his roommate, 30-year-old aspiring actress Vicki Morgan. He tells the police that he crushed her skull with a baseball bat. Vicki Morgan was born on August 9th, 1952, and her short life ended when she was only 30 years old on July 7th, 1983. At 16, she became pregnant and she dropped out of high school. She then left her son with her mother and married, like a little bit later, a 47-year-old man she met at her new job named Earl Lamb. When she had just turned 17, she was at some drugstore having like a soda, like, the soda fountain type of situation that you've heard about in the movies. And in walks billionaire Alfred Bloomingdale, and he sees this beautiful young girl, and he goes up to her, he strikes up a conversation with her, he tries to persuade her to leave with him. She says no, no, no. Well, this keeps happening for about 2 months, and finally she says to him, "Look, you know what? I'm married, I have a kid," and he's not taking no for an answer. And so at some point he says to her, "Well, how much is it going to take to get rid of your husband?" And at that point, they get rid of the husband, and he starts to refer to her as his sex slave. And so what she finds out on the first time that they sort of have create this arrangement, because he was married to Betsy Bloomingdale, and although she's now in a way single, he's not going to be marrying her. So they start this arrangement, but the first time they're together, what Alfred Bloomingdale has in store for her is somewhat surprising to the young 17-year-old girl. She walks into the room, and there are two other women there, and he strips down, he starts to beat them. And what he's doing is he's trying to get himself excited enough so that he can have sex with Vicki. And he does. She's shocked, she's surprised, but that's the beginning of an 11-year relationship that doesn't really end until almost the end of her life. So she's with him for her whole adult life. A little bit about Bloomingdale. Bloomingdale was very good friends with Ronald Reagan, and this happened during the time that Ronald Reagan was president. And so what Bloomingdale was doing when he was having these very wild sexual encounters with not just prostitutes but also with Vicki was he would tape them. Now, he would brag to his friends in the Reagan White House that, he had these women, and it was sort of a free-for-all, and of course his friends became involved, and so he had his friends videotaped having sex either with Vicki and or women that he would hire. One of the things that they were caught on tape, and this stuff became part of the public record. I'm gonna go into a lot of things, so I'm gonna keep things at a minimum for now because there's going to be a part 2. But this became part of the public record for a very short time, and then it was suppressed. There were tapes showing the young girls wearing strap-on dildos. Now, if you've read any of the Jeffrey Epstein transcripts with his victims and what's going on in that case, the same thing is true. For some reason, these wealthy guys like women and young girls to put on strap-on dildos and to, I can't even say it on the air, but you catch my drift. But even more appalling, this is on tape. And so what's happening in the Epstein case is obviously they're trying to prevent a political catastrophe and a reputational catastrophe for all of the men who were involved. And so that's what happened with the Vicki Morgan and Alfred Bloomingdale affair. It wasn't just sort of confined to them. It spread out into the Ronald Reagan White House and into their very well-known and very wealthy friends who were also caught on camera. Sort of like they were really, you knew who they were. It wasn't like they were obscured. And so Vicki Morgan was theoretically murdered by her roommate, but her roommate, as it turns out, in the opinion of many people, was just a patsy. Very much like the JFK assassination, where there was a patsy and then he was killed, and so that happened in this case. And so I'm going to pick this up again, but I just wanted to give you the basics of this so that you can see why I've been drawn to this for a while, because of the political aspect to it and the blackmail aspect to it. I'd love to hear your comments. Please feel free to leave them for me. And I think that you all know by now that I started a Patreon. And I want to encourage you that if you like my work, please support it on Patreon. It's a new platform for me, but it sort of allows me to share more things in a more immediate way with the people who really, really like my work and want to see more of it. Please remember to like the video, to subscribe, and thanks again for your encouraging words and for being like really the best followers. Okay, have a good day. Part 2 will follow. Bye.